We've been on David and Goliath. Shelley started it. David and Goliath, talking about defeating the giants, defeating the enemy. Elisha talked about standing against the enemy. And I was doing some studying after Shelley was preaching on David and Goliath. And the battle was always the Lord's. Amen? That's what David said, is I'm going to show you that you come at me with the sword and the spear and javelin, but I come at you in the name of the Lord my God. And he will deliver you into our hands in the battle. Then everyone will know. It says in 1 Samuel chapter 17. And then it says, in 47, it says, then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear, but for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. So the battle is already won. Amen. We have some things we got to step through and do and preach and do, but the battle has already been decided because the victory's already been won. And it's just amazing. When I was reading about this, the enemy, Goliath, he looks so big. He looks so strong. He looks so capable. It even says, Saul said he was a warrior since his youth. This is an experienced man of battle, but he was very tall, he was very big. And there's a medical condition that makes people grow very tall and big. It's gigantism. And sometimes, and I don't know if this is true or not. I can't verify this with scientific fact. But one medical reason for people to grow really big is called gigantism. And it's a growth on the pituitary gland. And the thing about this growth is it makes people grow really big, but it also makes their vision really blurry. And it makes them slow, and it makes them a little bit lanky. And so Goliath is big and strong, and he's very good at what he does. He's a warrior, he's strong, his armor's big, but he has this vision. And one reason you can kind of see this is that when David comes out, it says in I believe it's 1 Samuel 17 again, it says, then he took his staff in his hand, he chose for himself five smooth stones from the brook, and put them in his shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. So he had this stick in his hand, he had his staff, his shepherd's staff in his hand. He's going out to meet the Philistine. What does Goliath say? Am I a dog that you would come at me with sticks? He's seeing two sticks. His eyesight is so blurry, he's seeing double, right? He's coming at me with sticks. He only had one stick. Later on in 2 Samuel, and I believe it's chapter 21, it talks about the sons of Goliath. And it said one had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes. But that's in 2 Samuel 21. And that's another symptom of gigantism, is having lots of fingers and toes. But the reason that this could be true, and the reason that I'm sharing it, isn't because I want to mess up everyone's theology and say that something was that it wasn't. But God sometimes prepares us in the exact way in the weakness of our enemies. Amen? So Goliath is looking and he says, come at me, come close to me so that I can feed your flesh to the birds and the dogs. But David couldn't wear that armor, right? He wasn't prepared that way. He wasn't like a normal soldier. He was being prepared as a shepherd. He was being prepared as a worshiper in the fields with his flocks. And when the bear came and when the lion came, he did what he knew how, and that's exactly what was needed to defeat the giant, Goliath. Amen? He didn't come close to him. He was fast. He was using a sling and a stone, and he flung it, and God helped him. God supernaturally helped him defeat, and David was not afraid, like the army, because he knew his God. He spent time with his God. But I just feel like some of us tonight maybe are facing these giants, facing these situations, and sometimes these are way out of our control, but sometimes the enemy is making it look like he's bigger than he actually is. And he's looking like he's stronger than he actually is, when in reality he's slow and he can't see as well as he can, and you're not going to fight him in the way that he wants you to fight him. You're going to fight him in the way that God's prepared you, and all you have to do is do what you've been doing. So step into those battles with confidence, and if it's too big for us to handle on our own strength, like the fiery furnace, for example, or any other of these situations, God is going to work supernaturally, and He's going to give us what we need, no matter what. But let's not walk in fear. Let's not walk in what the enemy wants us to think. Let's be confident in God. Let's be confident in who He's prepared us to be. Later on in Samuel, David was running from Saul. And he was running, and he went to Nob, and he didn't have any weapons because he ran. Jonathan warned him, and he ran. And he didn't have any weapons. This is right before he ended up in the cave of Adullam, which was one of the verses that Terry got when he came to this church. He didn't have any weapons. He's just about to go to the cave. God's just about to gather his 400 people to him. And he goes to the priest and he says, I don't have any weapons. Is there any weapons here? And the priest, I believe it's Abimelech, says, the only weapon we have here is the sword, Goliath's sword. It's here. We keep it here. And spear? And David says, there's none like it. Give it to me. So God is always preparing us for the moment from what He's already led us through in the past. So God is always working. So when we face a battle, we don't have to come up with this new plan or become someone that we're not. We go into these situations where we're preaching. It's like, I have to be like Bill Johnson, or I have to be like all these great preachers. You don't have to be like them. You just have to be like you, because God has already prepared you for that battle. And He will already give you what you need from the battles that you've already won with Him. Amen? So that's what I have to share tonight. And I just do what you asked me to do. But